He's been called South Africa's Gorbachev, a man whose leadership and push for reform became the turning point for a nation, and perhaps his own Waterloo. But F.W. de Klerk is different. He picks his gambles carefully. He's bringing massive changes, but he's got a mandate for the Herculean task before him, reshaping the social and political fiber of his country. Tonight, a conversation with the state president of South Africa, F.W. de Klerk.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
The surface comparisons are easy enough to draw. Gorbachev and de Klerk, a couple of balding political veterans who came up through the system, their respective party structures. Each man in his late 50s carrying himself with a sort of old-world dignity that is lightened may be a better word, by a twinkle, a certain sparkling charisma that permits the observer to conclude that each man is probably a pretty good guy if you could get to know him. It is not a comparison that F.W. de Klerk much appreciates, according to his aides. Gorbachev has been an exceedingly important figure, but ultimately he failed. He's out. Like Moses, perhaps appreciated for delivering his people from slavery, but destined not to see the promised land himself. De Klerk sees himself as a more than transitional figure. He wants to finish the job. As Don Clanstrup now reports, those who remember how far de Klerk has come marvel at the distance traveled, but do not underestimate the difficulty of the road ahead.
For those who remembered the old F.W. de Klerk, the message he delivered on February 2nd, 1990, came as a stunning surprise.
The prohibition of the African National Congress, the Pan-Africanist Congress, the South African Communist Party, and a number of subsidiary organizations is being rescinded.
With those words, President de Klerk transformed the political landscape of South Africa, set the country on a course that made the rest of the world sit up and take notice. He freed Nelson Mandela, released thousands of political prisoners, scrapped all major laws of apartheid, promised to share power with blacks. The question is, why? What made him do it? Was it a change of heart? A matter of doing what was morally right?
Mr. de Klerk didn't change because his morality changed. Rather, fortunately for himself, he discovered that good politics, for the first time, coincided with good morality.
For 20 years, F.W. de Klerk had been a good and obedient soldier, a loyal member of the party that embodied the principles of racial separation. Then he became president, and he watched as his country was treated like an international pariah. He saw something else, too. The anger of 30 million blacks, the futility of using military means to control black political aspirations.
They could clear the streets, as it were, they could put people in prison, but at tremendous social and economic cost. And I think that it was also becoming evident to many Afrikaners that South Africa was sliding back into the third world, that many of the economic achievements of the previous 30 years were being placed in jeopardy.
De Klerk was born into a deeply conservative Afrikaner family, was nurtured on politics by his father, who was a National Party senator.
For me, F.W. he was a born leader. He's a very sincere guy. He's a very honest man. He believed what he's doing, and he believed it's right.
Which explains his daring move 3 weeks ago. Stunned by his party's loss in a recent election and faced with growing opposition from whites, de Klerk called a snap referendum to test his support.
If he goes against me, I'll resign. The government will...
But de Klerk didn't have to resign. He won, overwhelmingly. Those who know him best say he is an intensely private person who is not authoritarian, does not lose his temper, and is a good listener. Becoming president, they say, had a profound effect.
He spoke to people who traveled, and he gradually began to realize that whereas he was fully aware of the fact that apartheid couldn't work, that the option of continuing with a failed policy was in fact far more dangerous than seeking to cross the bridge into uncharted waters.
This is not a man who is looking forward with tremendous pleasure and anticipation to the prospect of a black majoritarian government. This is still a man who considers his constituency, his main constituency, to be his own people.
Which may explain why he has never said two simple words: I'm sorry. Has never apologized for a system that inflicted pain on millions of people.
I think greatness arises out of not only what you do, but your willingness to be honest about what has been done in the past. So far, he's not been utterly honest about the immorality of apartheid in the past.
De Klerk has consistently referred to apartheid as something that was well-intentioned but didn't work. He did so again yesterday.
What started out with idealism in a quest for justice, because that was the starting point of the policy of separate development, could not attain justice for all South Africans, and therefore it had to be abandoned and replaced.
I think one can see all the ambivalences of a man who is still an Afrikaner nationalist, who still hasn't apologized for his past, who would still make excuses for the National Party, but who clearly now has to play a role in which his own past and the past of his party is a very large albatross.
As South Africa moves forward, the ultimate test of de Klerk's leadership could be the manner in which he leaves it, how he concedes power to those who represent the majority. This is Don Gladstrup for Nightline in Johannesburg.
Joining us now is the state president of South Africa, F.W. de Klerk. Mr. President, I'm going to start you on a very personal note, if I may. I'm told that when you first saw the results and saw the enormity of the vote as it went for you, you reacted rather emotionally. I guess what I'm asking you is the degree to which even you were surprised. I mean, your heart must have been in your mouth a little bit. It was a terrific gamble for you.
No, it wasn't a gamble. It was a calculated risk. All opinion polls, right up till the time that I announced the referendum, showed that I still commanded a majority of the white electorate, and therefore I didn't expect to lose, and I really never thought about losing. But yes, there was the risk of a narrow win. I always said that I was working for a good win and that I was really trying my best for a landslide win. And the fact that we got the landslide win, that really was a breakthrough. It was a triumph in a certain sense of the word. It made me very proud of the electorate who stood aside from their ordinary grievances. They stood aside from the fact that we've had a long drawn-out recession. And they actually applied their minds and voted for the sort of future they want. I'm very proud that they rose above grievances to vote according to their conscience.
Mr. President, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'd like to talk with you about the future, which is certainly a little brighter today than it was a couple of days ago, but still fraught with a great deal of danger. We'll continue our conversation with President de Klerk of South Africa in a moment.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by LensCrafters.
These slip down one more time. I'm fed up with glasses that don't fit.
You don't have to put up with glasses that don't fit anymore. Because at LensCrafters, we have so many new ways to make glasses more comfortable.
LensCrafters glasses fit your snug points with features like new snug fit hinges that hug your head and won't lose their gentle hold. LensCrafters, for that cushion of comfort you've always wanted.
I never knew glasses could be this comfortable.
LensCrafters, better fit for greater comfort in about an hour.
I'm alive. Howard Weber.
I'm alive. Jessica Weber.
For a free list of cars with airbags, see your Allstate agent.
After 60 years, we're proud so many people feel nothing can top a sandwich better than the natural whole grain goodness, Roman meal bread. Maybe it's because we've had it right all along. Roman meal. It's that good.
We'll bend over backwards to earn your business and keep your business. We didn't become number one in the state from not being competitive. Well, you're going to be greeted by an intelligent professional salesperson. And that person's going to be friendly and is going to answer your questions directly. Jeep Cherokee is the vehicle that started this whole four-door sport utility craze. And it has all those new state-of-the-art improvements and all the goodies. And when you come here, you're going to get the best total deal. At Riverside Jeep Eagle, that's just the way we do business.
In the office, it's hard enough to get people to agree on lunch, let alone what radio station to listen to. So on K103, we serve up a variety of great music, enough to suit everyone's taste. Okay, not everyone, but close.
All day, every day, soft rock hits on K103 FM.
These 3 men are in prison for rape. They claim they're innocent. 2020 uncovered what the police didn't find, and it could set them free. Watch 2020 Friday.
A conversation with F.W. de Klerk now continues. Again from Washington, Ted Koppel.
And we are back once again with the South African State President, F.W. de Klerk. Mr. President, I must tell you quite frankly, I have been warned both directly and indirectly by folks around you that prior to the referendum, you were very sensitive about any analogies between you and Mikhail Gorbachev. Now that you have won your referendum, do you understand why so many people made that analogy? Do you think there's any validity to it, and are you at all alarmed by it?
Well, I wasn't sensitive ever, but I don't think that factually it is quite correct to make a direct analogy. I can see some analogies. Both of us had to deal with failed policies. Both of us had to get our supporters, our constituency, to follow our leadership into saying we must change this, we must make basically a 180-degree turn. So there are analogies. But I really think I have an easier task. I have a sound, inherently strong economy in South Africa, which has always been run on the basis of free enterprise. He didn't. I have in South Africa a tremendous amount of goodwill. I have a commitment from the most important leaders to work together through negotiation towards an accord. So in that sense of the word, I don't think I face exactly the same problems that he faced, and there are also important and fundamental dissimilarities.
Indeed, there always are. Every analogy is flawed, but let me pursue even this flawed one step further, if I may. There are in the Soviet Union to this day hundreds of thousands of former communist apparatchiks whose own present and future is threatened by the changes that have now taken place. Similarly, it could be said that in your country, too, the whites who have enjoyed power over the past 40 years in your country under the system that has existed can see that power, can see their privileged status being threatened by the changes that you are trying to make. Do you accept the analogy as far as that point? And if so, where do you think it's going to go?
I think that brings forward another important dissimilarity. We have been, although imperfect in as much as we didn't include all South Africans, but vis-a-vis white South Africans, we've been a full democracy for almost 100 years in South Africa. Therefore, democracy has decided. The people themselves have decided what should happen and how the future should be shaped. Those with the power at the moment in terms of our present imperfect constitution. And yes, some people are afraid. But I basically trust also the overwhelming majority of the people who voted no. They are also Democrats. They are not wild ones. They are not people who want to tear everything apart. And I intend to address reasonable concerns, which might have motivated them to vote no in the negotiation process, so that they will also become supportive of a just system, just towards everybody, but a system which nonetheless offers them safeguards against being suppressed, against discrimination in reverse, against their property being taken away from them at the whim of any new government. I'm talking about effectively protecting the principle of private property ownership in a Bill of Rights for everybody, now, this generation, and all future generations. I'm talking about writing into a Bill of Rights the right to contract freely, the right to be protected against willful or arbitrary government intervention in the personal and individual rights of all individuals. I'm not talking race, I'm not talking color. We have black millionaires too who are worried about their property rights. And we have colored millionaires who are worried.
But far fewer, Mr. President, I think you'll acknowledge. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is that clearly those who have are disproportionately white in South Africa. Those who do not have are disproportionately black.
No, in general that is true, but it is a comparison which is very, very fastly changing. A new billionaire in many spheres amongst the blacks are coming to the fore quite regularly. There is tremendous growth potential. The buying power already has shifted to the black population. I have made it absolutely clear during this referendum, I'm not looking for an underhanded way in which to continue privilege for anybody on the basis of race or color. I've been blatantly frank with the electorate on this issue. The type of thing that I'm saying you will hear more and more also from the mouth of even Mr. Nelson Mandela. In the past 3 months, he made statements, for instance, that people should be reassured about their property rights. People should be reassured about their priorities such as education and the right to have a say in their children's education. He and his party or his movement is even reconsidering their economic policy because they are out of step with the rest of the world. Therefore, I have confidence in the negotiation process that the moderation which we need is already taking place on quite a number of issues. We have succeeded. And I'm not saying it to the detriment of anybody. I'm not sort of claiming a victory. But negotiation has succeeded in getting people from across the table, from very widely different points of view, to move nearer to each other through a process of give and take. And there's a commitment in CODESA, which is really very, very encouraging, a commitment to succeed. And we find that we are making headway. I'm confident, as a weathered politician, that we will succeed to negotiate a constitution which is fair and just to all South Africans, which can offer security to those who have much to lose, but simultaneously offer, on the basis of justice, full participation and equal opportunity to those who have been disadvantaged in the past. We are working for that balance.
Mr. President, on that note, let me take another break, and we will be back with State President F.W. de Klerk in just a moment.
Recently, DuPont announced that its energy unit Conoco would pioneer the use of new double-hulled oil tankers in order to safeguard the environment. The response has been overwhelmingly positive. DuPont, better things for better living.
It may surprise you to learn who, over 30 years ago, was the first car maker to build cars with seat belts, to make safety glass standard, the first U.S. car maker to offer anti-lock brakes, and who today offers more models with dual airbags than any other manufacturer. That company is Ford Motor Company.
We're committed to making safety innovation an important part of quality.
Ford Motor Company. Quality is job one. It's working.
We've noticed that people generally don't like being told what to do. And if you box them in, they can become kind of ornery. That's why Bank of America offers 5 different kinds of checking. All simple yet distinct, which seems enough for now. In addition, some folks have suggested we offer waterproof checks. And, well, we're looking into it. Bank of America.
Not
Every bird you see at your grocery store is a fresh Oregon-grown chicken. Some are out-of-state birds, which come from thousands of miles away. To make the trip, they may be frozen solid, then days later left to thaw and labeled fresh, right alongside Oregon fryers, which can go from farm to store in just one day. So for the freshest chicken, look for the Grown in Oregon label. Without it, you could be getting a totally different breed of bird.
The all Maytag sale at Montgomery Ward Electric Avenue.
Stampede's more like it.
Save $50 on this Maytag washer, plus get a $50 bond. Save $40 on this Maytag dryer, plus get a $50 bond.
I'd be safer out on the freeway.
Save $90 on this washer dryer, plus get a $100 bond. Save $50 in this Maytag dishwasher, plus get a $50 bond. And get a Maytag refrigerator for just $599.99.
Peace at last.
Don't miss all Maytags on sale at Montgomery Ward Electric Avenue.
Their leaders called us lazy, past our peak. But what does the average Joe in Japan think about America? I went there, and you'd be surprised. Watch 2020 Friday.
A conversation with F.W. de Klerk continues. Here again from Washington, Ted Koppel.
And we are back once again with the State President of South Africa, F.W. de Klerk. Let me, if I may, Mr. President, ask you to focus one more time on the past. You will have seen in the piece that preceded our interview that someone made a reference to the way you have spoken about apartheid. And you have spoken about it, quite frankly, as a mistake, but never as something morally wrong. You have never offered, and I'm not suggesting that you as an individual need to offer a personal apology, but any kind of apology to the blacks of South Africa in your role as state president. Is that an appropriate thing to do you think?
Well, I don't think that the perception that you refer to is a totally correct perception. I draw a distinction, and I've done so publicly, between the basic and original purpose of the policy which we prefer to call separate development. It had as its purpose the establishment of a number of nation states to bring justice and full political rights to all people on the basis of dividing South Africa into a number of independent states. This worked in Europe. The French have France, and the Germans have Germany, and the Dutch have Holland. It couldn't work in South Africa. It resulted, therefore, instead of bringing justice, it resulted in racial discrimination. It resulted in people's dignity being impaired. It resulted in disadvantagement for people on the basis of color. And I have said publicly that inasmuch as that was the result of that original policy, we are sorry.
Mr. President, we're almost out of our time. I'd like to end where we began, and that is, if you would indulge me, on a more personal note. Can you give us a look into the mind and heart of F.W. de Klerk during these past few weeks? How difficult a period was this for you? To what degree did you have to overcome either self-doubt or the doubts of advisors and counselors? Just give us a little bit of an insight into what's been going on in your own mind over the last few weeks.
At the risk of sounding holy, which I don't want to do, I haven't been troubled by doubts. Since the moment that I took the decision to call a referendum, I believed that we will win, and I worked very, very hard together with all my colleagues who supported the yes vote. We had another party, an opposition party, also supporting the yes vote. And we fought a very clean, a very honest, but a very hard campaign. I never doubted that we would win. I had some worries that the win would be too narrow and that we might have arguments about the substantiveness of the win and that would in any event not take us further. But the fact that we got the landslide win, that is giving impetus. It has placed the whole process in South Africa on a new high platform. It is wonderful news for those who want us to succeed in moving as soon as possible to a just new South Africa.
I know, Mr. President, that particularly public people like yourself sometimes resent any intrusion into private life at all. But when you are at home, when you and your wife are talking about this, again, can you give us a sense, just some sort of reflection of what kinds of thought processes you and Mrs. de Klerk went through?
I have a wife who works as hard as I do. She addressed us as